Hey everyone, how's it going? And in this video, I'm going to be checking out this cheap £20 spoiler I bought for my Audi A4 off eBay. Now normally, I'm a bit apprehensive about buying things like this, and to be honest, I still am. My main concern was that it was going to be very brittle and just break under the first sign of stress. So I was very surprised it was completely rubber and bends just completely to whatever shape you want. In fact, this thing came spiraled up in the box. Now, Jeff, who I did the intercooler mod for a few weeks ago on the channel, he stuck one of these cheap spoilers on the back of his A5, and to be honest, the result was pretty good. So we're going to be sanding this down, priming it, painting it, sticking a clear coat on, and then obviously sticking on the car. So let's see if it's £20 well spent or £20 wasted. Before I did anything with the spoiler, I wanted to make sure that the basic fit was correct for the car. The ends were not quite at the exact angle I wanted, but at least the overall width was close enough not to bother me. And just a quick disclaimer, this video is not really a how-to, so apologies if I don't go into too much detail. It's really more of a work vlog. I then left the spoiler out in the sun for a bit with 2 bricks holding it down so that the spoiler would uncurl itself. Once relatively straight, I had to make sure that it was ready for the primer. So I took some 600 grit wet and dry sandpaper, some soapy water, and I keyed the surface to give the primer something to adhere to. Once sanded down, I made a little rig up from a straight piece of wood and some duct tape folded back on itself to hold the spoiler in place and, crucially, to keep it straight. I also went over it with my heat gun to straighten it further. I didn't want this thing flopping all over the place whilst I was trying to paint it. Then I gave her a wipe down with some isopropyl alcohol to remove any dirt or grease on the surface. Then it was on to 3 coats of plastic primer. The first coat was lightest and I went progressively heavier in subsequent coats, leaving about 10 minutes in between each coat. Once finished, I let it sit for 24 hours as I went to get the colour coats made up the next day. The primer at this stage was fairly rough, so I smoothed it out with some 600 grit sandpaper again to enhance the finish of the colour coat. Once sanded, I cleaned the spoiler with a damp sponge. Then it was on to the colour coat. Like the primer, I started off thin and got thicker as I applied each new coat. Again, I left about 10 minutes between each coat. After applying the final coat, I waited about half an hour to apply the clear coat. At this stage though, the spoiler was looking good and I was quite happy with the coverage and finish. It just lacked the glossiness that the clear coat will provide. And onto the clear coat, and once again, you guessed it, I started off thin, left it for about 10 minutes and then came back thicker. And now it was onto the final coat, and you can see here that I'm going quite thick and quite slow. And at this stage the spoiler was looking great. There was a nice shine to it and was ready to go onto the car. If you wanted to achieve the best finish possible, you could wet sand the spoiler with 1500 and then 3000 grit sandpaper, then you could compound it and then polish it, but to be honest, I was happy enough with it how it was. Now onto the car, and I removed any loose dust and dirt with some quick detailer and then applied some pure polish to the boot lid to remove the layer of wax. Then I rubbed down with some isopropyl alcohol to remove any residual grease or dirt. The tricky part was making sure that the spoiler curved to the boot lid properly, so before I stuck it down I carefully traced out the shape I wanted with a whiteboard marker. Doing it this way, I had some room for adjustments before I stuck the spoiler down because once it's on, it's pretty final. Happy with the shape, I heated up the boot lid a bit, peeled off the 3M tape that was on the underside of the spoiler and also applied some heat to the spoiler itself. This would make it more flexible and prevents the paint from cracking. Then it was a case of heat, shape and stick. Heat, shape and stick, and you guessed it, heat, shape and stick. And sorry if I keep getting in the way of the camera in these shots, rookie mistake on my part. And once it was on, you can see that it was stuck on solid. Overall, I am very happy with the fit and finish of the product considering it was so cheap. With materials used such as paint and sandpaper, the finished product still came to less than £30. Check out my before and after shots of the rear. Spray tinting the rear lights, debadging the car and adding the spoiler all came to less than £50, and I was very happy with the difference those small mods have made to the rear. If you want to see my upcoming dual outlet exhaust mod on a budget, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Anyway, thank you for watching, see you soon, take care.